There's recently been some disappointing news that homeschooling is not allowed in countries such as Cuba and China, and we obviously know about Germany and Sweden where it's verboten.
Hmm.
But generally, is homeschooling still growing internationally despite these setbacks?
Yes, all the indications that I can see, both from research evidence and just talking with people in the various nations and following homeschool leaders in America who work with people in other nations, it's definitely expanding. It's definitely growing. As you mentioned, in some particular countries, the governments are very antagonistic toward homeschooling. And in fact, oftentimes professional educators are antagonistic toward homeschooling. Uh, but what we've seen historically, unless it's a very tyrannical nation, eventually there's a breakthrough. And if enough grassroots pressure comes to bear on the government, usually they find some way to not prohibit home education. Now, whether that will happen in Cuba, I don't know. And Germany is a fascinating, to me, very fascinating, because on the one hand, the German people say that they're very progressive, they're very open to ideas, and yet they're clinging to a law that came to bear at the time of Hitler. And I don't say that lightly. That's what happened. So we don't know what's going to happen there, although I know it is being appealed in the courts, and the people are still working to change the mind of the government and the people there. So we're still seeing an expansion.
Mm.
Looking at something like China, again, you have something of a very oppressive government in some ways, and it's hard to know what's going to happen there. But I know there are people homeschooling, and I've talked with professors there, and I've been there, and it still seems to be expanding in spite of that kind of a government approach.